Right, for quite a long time the conversation has been around the impeachment of Waiguru, the devolution cabinet secretary, and today we want to put it a little bit into context, and we are hosting Wanjiku, who is the women representative of Nyandarua, and Dan Maanzo, who is the MP of Makueni. They're going to be talking to Mutegi Njau about the same. If you have any questions and comments, and even just to express your views, the SMS number is 22422. That number again, 22422. Talk to us, ask your questions, your views, and Mutegi will be able to relay them to our two guests. So let's talk. And also on Twitter, the hashtag to use is Power Breakfast. Mutegi.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Mutegi.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Now, Mheshimiwa Maanzo.
Yes.
The process of impeachment of the cabinet secretary for devolution.
Yes.
It's on high gear.
Yes.
Might to understand that way.
That's right.
Tell us where you are and also the justification.
Yes, what happened is the Constitution requires that you have at least 88 members of Parliament signing up to support a motion. The motion was presented together with the signatures to the clerk for verification, and the first instance the clerk confirmed to myself and the Honourable Keter, because of the one seconded the motion, that everything was in order, and it was now going to be presented to the Speaker for approval. Actually, if the Speaker does not approve it, it collapses at that particular moment. But the Speaker has already said that if he approved his own motion, he has no business really refusing to approve another person's motion, because he first led by example. When there was a motion against him, he approved it, and therefore that was like giving an okay that the Speaker is going to approve it. Once it is approved, then it has to be debated, and then now 117 members of Parliament now vote to form an 11-member committee, which now will hear out the minister. Or, allegation will be put forward. The minister will respond to each one of them. The first of it, number one, is the breach of constitution, whereby, and then abuse of our office. And the breach of the constitution is a failure to distribute the NYS funds and the projects equitably into the country. There have been in some parts of the country, we had given her enough money as Parliament, and that was the expectation. And secondly, when we go to our office following up, to know, you go to a technocrats, they tell you this is the minister handling. You go to the minister's office, you are told it's the technocrats handling. So you began be shuffled. And when we talk to MPs who have this, they say you must talk to the minister personally. And I believe a minister is appointed to serve the country equitably and to respect everybody. Within the country.
Where are the facts and figures about the distribution? Which count has been left out?
Well, for example, Makueni constituency doesn't have that distribution anywhere else. The other day...
you mean that we have Makueni constituency in Kenya?
Yes, there's Makueni constituency where I represent.
Not the county.
There's also, even the whole county, there's no single MP. We have 6 constituencies in Makueni. And even in Mavoko. The member of Parliament of Mavoko was the other day asking the President if he could help also we get these funds distributed to our youths, because they were meant for all youths of the country, not for certain youths in certain places. Honorable Sumra does not have this project, yet it is in Kibera. Honorable Sumra also has a very serious slum which is going to be affected very badly by El Nino. So we have consulted with MPs, and there is also, when you are utilizing public funds, you must consult the stakeholders, and even before any serious thing is passed. Stakeholders, when they raise issues, they must be listened to, and I realize that in this case, there was no mechanism. So the only other way is the moment you realize that, and also together with the 791 million shillings lost in our department. I'm very familiar with the government processes, because one time I was a senior civil servant in this country, and I'm aware that monies cannot be spent in a government department in tunes of millions, 100 million, 200 million, 700 million, without knowledge of 2 ministers, the Minister of Finance and the Minister in charge of that department. In fact, the Permanent Secretary under the new Constitution is not the one with the responsibility. The responsibility squarely, the accounting officer under the current Constitution is a minister. It cannot be a Permanent Secretary or a director in that department. And we are quite aware that zeros were added. So if somebody was to be paid 10 million, and you add a zero, you make it 100 million, it means Kenyans have lost 90 million shillings in the fraudulent claims. Somebody must be in. So if she says she knows and she has raised alarm of a corruption, somebody should have been charged by now. The way Honorable Muhama is being charged, you know, for a misdemeanor or small thing which...
And don't bring politics, local politics.
So we are saying there should be equity. The way, you know, the DPP's office should act also equitably. If Maanzo has stolen money, I should be taken to court. Anybody else who steals money, they should not run to the president to be protected, because that has been the tendency. Any governor, any civil servant, any politician...
Who has run to the president for protection?
Including the governor from Machakos. That's the only reason he is hiding in Jubilee, because there has been misappropriation of funds, and the documents are there. We have documents to that effect.
The problem with you, you can bring Kamba politics.
Yes.
And you're interested in Waiguru.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, and including Waiguru herself, she's also there, hoping to be protected, you know, by the presidency, because she worked for it.
Hoping.
So we are saying, the law must cut across to everybody. If you misappropriate, then you face the law, or even apologize to Kenyans.
Let's go to Honorable Wanjiku.
I am really surprised.
Let me put it this way. This is the second time they are trying to, Parliament is trying to impeach
Waiguru.
The original, the first one was Mithika Ntuli.
Yes, and this is
went through the process until the day of the debate, and then it disappeared.
And this is a very good comparison, because during Linturi we could see the list in TVs, in newspaper, we could see the signatures are there. Although we know Mheshimiwa Maanzo is quite familiar in hiding the certificate and others, he is equally hiding the signature, so the figure he's talking about we are not aware. I may not be very sure that they have that kind of signatures, but by and large, I want to go back to his issues that he have raised. Clearly, it's crystal clear that these are baseless issues that can really come on board to impeach a cabinet minister. By the virtue of speaking of NYS not distributing services equally, this devolution ministry have come with these strategies. This NYS has been there time immemorial. No cabinet secretary there before has come with such strategies. These are Waiguru's own made strategies to change the country through this devolution, through NYS, through Kazi kwa Vijana, which has popularly been there by even the former government, and nothing tangible have really been seen. Today we are speaking of job opportunities, we are speaking of youth engagement, and we cannot even count. The list is endless. But having said that, when we speak of an equal distribution of these services, and he clearly quote Ukambani, I was there last month with the Deputy President at Mwingi Central, and we inspected a very big dam. What happens is that 290 constituencies cannot run concurrently. Things must go slowly. It is like a pilot test, but already it has been tested and it is working. When you speak of Mheshimiwa Sumras, we know Madare, we know Kibera. So we cannot do everything together, because even you as a politician, when you are going the county or the constituency, even when you are using your CDF, you also roll gradually. Otherwise you can crash. So I believe the devolution ministry is checking at all constituencies. I'm sure they have funds to go to all constituencies, and for that case I can count that as baseless. Coming to the main issue, this country has come to the stage where we want to use public courts. This country is heading where we want to make some people happy. One cannot resign just to make Raila happy. One cannot resign just to make people happy. Due process has to be done, and taxpayers' money is being used to pay specific offices. We have the DPP, we have Degwa Muhoro. Why do we want to work on their behalf as politicians? Why do I want to do investigation? So a saga cannot happen there. Then tomorrow you say, oh, Wanjiku must go home. Due process has to take place, and for this reason we have not seen this due process completion of it. We have no evidence. So whatever the papers are writing from the barazas, even the speaker is a very good example. Every day he says, whatever you speak there or in a hotel or you sign, don't bring it to parliament. There is due process. So far we don't really have tangible evidence. Could it be there? Then we could also say yes. Then this issue of saying one is running to the president, this is an insult. particularly, I am constrained not to bring women issue here with Mutegi because time and again we've had this debate of affirmative action funds. But though I'm constrained, Mutegi allow me to say that this is an insult because the president has given people jobs, and I believe this is one of the ministers who is working very hard. In fact, could we have 10 of these out of 18, this country probably could be very, very far. So no one is really running to the president because the president is equally given the list by anti-corruption, and if that list confirms that this cabinet secretary is in this list, then definitely the due course should take place.
There is somebody called Dr. Odidi Owiti who is asking, do members of parliament have any moral authority to crucify Waiguru?
Yes, we want to say that, I would like to say, Mr. Mutegi, that corruption is almost in every bit of Kenya. And even for myself in the constituency, monitor it very carefully, because you remember some of the funds we distribute, we give them, like if it's a committee of a school, we give them money and we counter check. And like in my constituency, I've had 2 schools which misappropriated funds, and when I went back to them and we called the parents, they were very honest, and they told me where the money disappeared to and who took it. So we warned these people, and we told the parents within a month we want to find that the right thing has been done, and where you have made the wrong payment, it should be rectified, because so everybody has to have a responsibility to fight corruption, because whether we like it or not, it is our biggest problem, and it is almost even with the people of Kenya. It even begins with the voters. Before you are voted in, you have to corrupt them. And then it goes on to almost every system of the country. I'll tell you, like in my own constituency, there is a dam allegedly to have been done by the devolution ministry. You have, the usual kibao. In fact, it's in my village. And then you have a dam called this and that, and it does not exist at all. And that was the last financial year. So I asked the chiefs and the assistant chiefs and even the village elders, we look for this dam. So they told me people came and put in this kibao, and there's no dam.
Is it written proposed?
It is,
because ideally
it's supposed to have been done.
Is it written proposed?
And even if it is proposed, there has to be consultation with the local people. There is no single day they have ever been met to show anybody where the dam has to be done. Actually, that has been one of the
How much did it cost?
3 million shillings. So I'm following it up.
Done by the Minister of Devolution.
And the Minister of Devolution has been duplicating things which have already been allocated funds into the governor's office, and they've been going into the countryside without talking to the governors, even members of parliament. One of the dams they did last year was supposed to have a fence. The engineers and the people who are doing it, they did not consult the villagers. They just started something. I said it's a good thing, do it through the NYS, and then they did not fence it, they did not complete it, they did not leave to the budget.
Allow me to interject. I think Honorable Maanzo, it's not good to mislead Kenyans. Really, from my experience, though I'm a county MP, I am quite aware, because in my county there are 2 projects, in Orokarau constituency and Kipipiri from NYS. I know devolution ministry works with the area MP, and those NYS youths are normally coordinated by area MP. So in the event where the NYS is working, the MP is not aware, the governor, something really may be questionable. So let's speak of things that are real, and that we have facts. Remember, you've just misled Kenyans here by saying that the cabinet secretary is in charge, squarely in charge under the new constitution for signatories or accounting of money, which is not true. The the Finance Management Act clearly puts the PS and the officers under to be the accounting officer, and the appointing case. We have been seeking for affirmative action funds, and currently we are waiting for that funds to be distributed to our counties, and there is no way, or one time we have gone to Waiguru, we are dealing with the PS, and the PS will equally not wire the money to the accounts, even CDF. It will be done by an officer under him, though through his instruction or authority. So it's good to be factual at least, particularly when we are speaking of things that are also seen in the village.
Some of those things much more you have talked about, like the dam that it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Is that worth impeaching a cabinet secretary?
Yeah, 3 million shillings is a lot if it's lost under cabinet secretary. And I want to say, even if the act says so, when we made the new constitution, and I was part of it, and even when I was in government, when the new constitution came into force, it was very clear. And the interpretation of that act you are talking about is that the minister, the cabinet secretary, has to be accountable, because she's the one who sits in the cabinet, and there is no way government expenditure can happen without serious expenditure, without the knowledge of the cabinet secretary. Even if you blame it on the permanent secretary just does the technical job of preparation of documents and the figures. But the moment something is missing, the cabinet secretary is squarely
very
responsible.
well spoken. The moment something is missing, the cabinet secretary knows, just like Waiguru knew, and she blew the whistle. Very well.
Yes, but the whistle was only blown while she has already participated, and we can prove there's no way such amounts of money. So the moment she realized it has leaked is when she started to pretend to be blowing whistles.
It has leaked? No. Let's wait also for that evidence, because yes, I think this is the process that is ongoing.
Yes.
But I want to say categorically, from the counties that we have visited, many, I have been to Muranga, we know the counties that have benefited from this, even Kisumu, not only a Jubilee zone. The MPs of those areas have really been coordinating the youths. In fact, I know my own MP from Kipipiri, who was in charge of even collecting the youth. So the issue that a dam could have happened somewhere, the people are not aware, then there's a miracle in the county. A dam has just been found in their county.
It should not be segregation, because that is unconstitutional in itself, and the manner of operation should respect the local leadership. There should be consultations, because the moment you don't consult the local leaders, then you start playing politics within my constituency.
I still don't seem to get anything concrete to impeach the cabinet secretary.
You know, Mr. Mutegi,
because those things we are talking about local.
Yeah, but I want also to say we don't want to, to leak or predict the debate which is going to be in Parliament, because an 11-member committee will investigate all allegations. We will produce the documents to prove the 791 million, and some of this is already a matter of public notoriety. Already the public knows. Already the newspapers, although we don't want to rely squarely on that, on the changing of zeros and the IFMIS systems. We have experts of IFMIS. We have IT experts also who will come and show us these documents whereby zeros have been added. And what we are saying, up to now, nobody has been prosecuted.
Why would anybody who steals here, say the accounts department in this company, somebody fiddled with the systems and added zeros? Why would them do? Why would you want to? And then this says, oh, somebody added zeros.
Yeah, it should be detected immediately. But this information was leaking when they did not share the money with one of the fellows who leaked it, and was also supposed to be charged.
How factual is that, really?
Yeah.
How factual is that?
So we have a witness who has already blown the whistle even before the minister did, and said monies have been stolen.
Anyway, the thing is that I am sure they don't have the numbers, as always. And I am sure we can already ask the speaker to put the question even at the doorstep, because I'm sure that motion may not really go anywhere. Secondly, I'm aware many members who could have been convinced on issues that were not real have now come to find the facts, and I'm sure they have also withdrawn. So we may even need to speak of this motion if it is really in Parliament. I may not see it in Parliament, but could it be there? We shall deal with it squarely. As Jubilee, I am not even bothered if this motion can really move anywhere. But because of taxpayers' money and issues that are really at hand, Parliament is constrained of time. I don't see a case where we should really concentrate to use 3 hours or 2 hours of taxpayers' money discussing that Dam A is not in this constituency. I think these are things that we can just summon the cabinet secretary or the department to the committee and try to find out which constituencies have not benefited from this, why, and I am sure she can already say that we are at this number and we are waiting to go to this number, because she's also working at a time frame, possibly 3 months, 50 constituencies, possibly 60 months, 100 constituencies. So really, I don't see something that we should use 3 hours taxpayers' money to discuss that a dam is not in this. To me, it's below the standard, honestly.
Somebody from Nairobi called Isaiah says to you, Madam, the question is so simple. We have people who have stepped aside and they have either been cleared or are facing corruption charges. Why can she not do the same? Why do you defend her to the point of almost crying? Why do you bring Raila into the matter?
The answer is equally very simple. Why does she have to step down like others? Are we copy-pasting what others have done? The others were already in the report of anti-corruption. So if her name is equally brought by anti-corruption, she will not even wait, she will leave. But
there are allegations from, I think, court that her name was removed from that list.
That's why now we bring Raila on the matter. Because clearly, as a former prime minister, a respected member, and Mutegi yesterday I went to a church in one of my constituencies, and the bishop had really good sermons. I wish I could have tipped and give Maanzo and possibly he take to Raila, because I saw a bishop who has served for many years and he was retiring. He even asked the congregation if he could retire, and the people are not accepting. And now this is the problem. When we listen to Raila saying that the president has removed Waiguru's name, it is a baseless communication to Kenyans, because does he have the evidence? It's always good to respect our capacity. When I speak as a member or a former prime minister, definitely I need to speak something something tangible. And I want to say that if Raila is speaking of things that he is imagining, what of that other person who may rely with Raila to be the president?
Mr. Mutegi, on that matter, I would like to say that even during Kibaki government, we know very senior ministers in this country, the moment they were mentioned, they stepped aside, they were investigated. If the minister is found not to have participated and other officers under her did, then they will go. So 791 million is not small amount of money. It can do a lot. Changing of zeros is fraud. It's a criminal act. If it was done with the knowledge of the minister, and that can come out of investigation and trial in court, then she will be convicted and sentenced. And also we know who Anne Waiguru is, who she was before she became a minister and who she has become. There is a method you can check somebody's wealth, and you will know whether they have acquired any wealth irregularly, because we know officers like her work for government under the new constitution. They do not participate in other businesses, and therefore if you do analysis, you'll be able to know where there has been impropriety or where it doesn't exist. And therefore we are saying, now that she has been adversely mentioned, it is only fair she steps aside, a due process is done, and if she's cleared, we have no problem with her. And again, also that, you know what happens in these corruption cases, and I've done some before as a lawyer. You have to then to pay back the money. All the people where money got lost through their offices, and where the wealth can be traced to whatever they are doing, some doing hotels and other things, they should be sold, and the money brought back to Kenyans, so that the country stops being bankrupt as it is now. You can see it's unable to pay teachers up to today. Members of parliament were not paid in good time, electricity and other things, many other problems in the country. The country is being bankrupted by corruption, and we need to protect it for our future, so that the future generations don't find too much debt. Because you know, the other day the Honorable Duarte brought a motion to increase the country's debt, and you can see where we are. But if we work on corruption, I can assure you Kenya has a lot of money, and we will serve all Kenyans equally. And that's what we are looking for. I have nothing really against the Honorable Waiguru. I was in that ministry myself, Minister of Youth. I know how NYS works very well. It's a huge enterprise for Kenyans. And if a minister is not very careful, she's not the first one. A lot of things are likely to go. So I'm just telling her to be careful, and to make sure whatever happens and I know why she inspects, because she has a ministerial responsibility, and she's not a cabinet secretary just to sit there to let the permanent secretary and the directors work. It is actually our job, and the money is allocated to her. She's the one accountable, not really the permanent secretary.
Anyway, let me read the viewers' comments. Many of them varied. Is it me, or does it sound that Honorable Maanzo is grappling in the dark for anything to hold on to, so that you can crossfire the CS? I am shocked if this is what Honorable MPs do. Dennis Mutiso from Mombasa. It is a shame that some tribes, it is a shame that some tribes think they are so superior than others and didn't say anything about it. Maanzo, you made me believe that you are a politician without facts about what you think about NSYS. NSYS is in Mwingi. and the MP controls it. Some people say you are anti-development. I am Omanga from Turkana. What happened to the provision of water in Napuru? And NYS came in trying to drill some boreholes, then they disappeared. Is it because Turkana is in court? Maanzo is lost. We know government procedures. Let him not pretend to the talks of misappropriation of his CDF. If he's a looter, let himself, and he has confirmed that he corrupted to get the seat to a cheaper patent.
Yes, I just want to respond quickly because first I want to say there is a dam allegedly to have been done by NYS in my constituency which does not exist. And that I can stand by, I can take them to site, and we can follow up, and we realize funds have been stolen and lost. And as an elected member of parliament, it is my duty to point that out. Even, you know, to
on that very point.
Let me just finish. And also, in the first in the 2013 financial year, through that program of NYS, a dam was brought to my constituency, first of all, without consultation. And when I got wind of it, because I'm in charge of my constituency, we followed up to make sure everything should be done. Like when you do these sand dams, you must fence them, and you must have a draw point. If you don't fence them, they are very dangerous to children and to people, and people can die. And although when you do something, you are legally liable. If you amass water and you kill somebody, that person. So I followed up the fencing, and trust me, it was hide and seek, and up to today, that particular project has never been fenced. And now we'll have to do it under CDF. So I want to tell the listener, say that we have not misappropriated any of the CDF funds, and that's why I follow. And when I get word from people that 2 primary schools, something right was not done. Like for example, part of the money, you know, the moment they started building classrooms, some neighbor came and said, "You are building on my land," and without consulting me, they paid him off. So when I got wind of it, I said, "Look, you should not have been paid off." So it is the responsibility of the parents now to raise money to cover up the big queue, because we have big queues and we make sure they are followed and they are government we make sure that it is followed to the letter. So we just want everybody to be accountable so that they can account, so that the minister accounts. It's not political at all, and we must mention this thing, because if we don't, corruption will eat up this country. Personally, I never paid any of my voters. I said if the vote is to buy, I am sorry, I don't want to be voted in. And a lot of people bought it and they lost.
What about
Mutegi could allow that. It shouldn't go unchallenged. For Honorable Maanzo and many others who are leading this country in fight against corruption, which is a good thing because we are all doing that, and we know this country is suffering from corruption. I would be very glad if he was speaking of this dam and he has taken step. But he can't really come and say in a TV that a dam is done and it is not existing, and he has done nothing. If he is really there to fight against corruption, he could have seen this dam, he could have picked a call, maybe call the relevant people or find a way and go to the ministry. Me, when I am driving, even I find the rogue police, I take a phone, I call the Ministry of Interior, or if we have issues with the KPL, Kenya Power, we have an issue in any constituency, not necessarily mine. I find a way how I get the PS, this is happening, so that I save the country. Otherwise, if you see that dam does not exist, it's 3 million. Wanjiku, go and find another person, another thing is not existing. So are we really fighting corruption verbally or practically?
Yeah, first I established that the dam does not exist, because there are chiefs, there are assistant chiefs, there are village elders, and there are one.
As a leader, have you done something about it?
Immediately after that, I've been following it up with the system to find out where it got lost, and I have now established actually this dam was never done. And therefore, it is one of the charges I will bring against the minister, so that she can tell us who was supposed to do this and where did the money go, because my people need water. So people cannot pretend on the map, on the planning table of Kenya, there's such a borehole, there's such a dam, which does not exist. It is my duty to point out this one was budgeted for, it was never done. So if the money is still there, let it be brought forward.
Let me ask you this question before you conclude.
Yes.
Yesterday, there was an advertisement from the CIC, a big ad in the newspaper.
Yes.
about how Parliament is trying to put itself into pensions and what we are doing about the CDF
Equalization Fund
and the Equalization Fund.
Yes.
I don't know whether you are aware about that, the bills that you are passing.
Yes.
And the CIC is saying this is a rip-off, it's against the Constitution. And you have no business.
It is a tyranny of numbers, as she said.
So what do you say about that?
It is rip-off through tyranny of, and I'm telling you, the tyranny of numbers should be reasonable and sensible to the country. Don't just be whipped politically to destroy the country, not only that, the land laws. These land laws are just to rob, you know, the people who keep cattle in the country, like the Maasai communities, you know, the pastoralists, really would not be able to know. And we have said such a law is bad. If the tyranny of numbers pass this law, it's going to disadvantage some of the communities. So this tyranny of numbers itself, which is political whipping, is really dangerous for the country. Members of parliament should vote with their conscience. Just like the Waiguru case, people were being forced to withdraw signatures. So meaning a member of parliament can't think, has to vote how Duale says. And I think when you start running a country like that, it's really absurd. Members of parliament should vote with their conscience, but not be whipped by the majority. We should do what is right for the country.
I respond to that, yes.
I believe tyranny of numbers come from Kenyans, because if we are more in parliament, then more Kenyans voted for us, and obviously then we cannot assume, it is not practical to assume that most Kenyans do not think. If we have tyranny, then we are many.
Is it true Jubilee members who had signed for the petition were induced by Duale?
I am sure Duale has really nothing to guide someone to sign or not, because clearly as we sit here, Mutegi, you can see the facts. And if these facts are black and white, definitely I would be the first one to sign. But if someone is complaining of a dam, something that can literally be sorted at the minister's office, not even summoning her to the parliament, it is baseless. So I don't believe, I don't want to think even on that direction. What God is doing, you know, for 2 years, Jubilee has been crying that opposition in this country has failed. It has really not been up to the task. So time has come that opposition want to show that it is doing something, and for this reason, that is they are taking, this is the agony of Waiguru, because she seemed to be a very strong pillar of Jubilee, because of course NYS holding the affirmative action group, particularly the youth, it is going to leave a mark. So far, within the short time possible, it has already shown a mark.
What about that pension that MPs want to vote for themselves? The advertisement from CIC.
The pension.
Yes.
They want to vote, but it is not discussed to the final end. But could it be there? It is clear that MPs come to Bunge, they serve for 2 terms, they serve for 3 terms. We know so many MPs that we find in the village not even able to afford a bicycle. Like teachers, like doctors, like possibly even yourself. I believe you also have a pension. So I may not go that direction to say that they should not have pension. I should support. About equalization fund, I fully support. Governors have billions of money. We are always seeing escalated figures. In my own county the other day, you saw my governor being pinned down upon 650 million. He could not see. When I go to the county, I cannot see those roads. Not even in other counties. When you visit all the counties, you can't really see anything tangible. People keep on speaking of the current expenditures.
The same thing could be said of
CDF have really tangible things. Even if you close your eyes, you will touch something. Just like the way I tell Maanzo, even if you close your eyes not to see what NYS has done, at least you can walk and step in water, so you know there is a dam. So definitely CDF has done tangible things that we have seen from history up to date, and for equalization fund to go to governors just to add them more money, not having shown case of what they are doing, that I'm sure it is not right. I think we are doing the right thing.
Yeah, first on the tyranny of numbers, remember the other day Parliament was trying to vote to increase his term. And I looked at the Constitution and I voted consciously, and I said, no, you cannot do this because it needs a referendum. And even if we did it, somebody would have gone to court and would have been taken back to others.
You are not increasing the term.
Yes. And then I also tell you about tyranny of numbers. Most of the members of parliament were robbed from court. A lot of these people were elected in court, and then after when they got to parliament, they were bought. And they went to vote with the Jubilee. So part of the problem, yes, some of them were bought.
So you don't believe in yourself?
We do, but you know, the role played by opposition is constitutional. And you cannot be killing the opposition or crushing it. And that's why we are coming out strongly to say people must account. As a member of the opposition, I am saying people must account, from the governors to members of parliament, including myself, so that even if I'm found to have misappropriated CDF, I should be charged in court.
Honestly, what is Wanjiku saying? Why should one tribe defend their people to death, even when they are wrong? This is really Wanjiku. You don't mean well for Kenya. We can't run this country through the tyranny of numbers and through corruption. Maanzo, you are complaining out of Waiguru's wealth. You're just a junior lawyer. The other day, you know you're wealthy now. Well, can you explain where you got it from?
Yes, I do, and I usually do well the declarations. And I would not really say I'm that rich. I'm just a hustler like many other Kenyans. I work hard on a daily basis. I wake up early like I did today, and if you work hard, God will bless you. But I want to say that NYS is not in Makueni. The youth funds, the youth of Makueni are asking for it. So I have a reason to ask for it. And when I went to the offices, I was not served. So the only other recourse was to use other legal mechanisms available in the Constitution to make the minister understand that the youth of Makueni are demanding for their NYS share, which we allocated enough money for, but has not been fairly distributed to ourselves. It has only been given to friends and the people personally known to the minister, or she chooses who to hate and who to like, who to give the money, who not to give money. So for me, she's actually politicizing that NYS fund, which she should not do.
Finally, final one.
Finally, I want to say that CORD is doing a good job now because they have woken up, but someone cannot resign just to please Raila. We mean good to this country. We are not using tyranny of numbers just for the sake. We are using facts, and I want to say that every Kenyan should be given a fair hearing, a fair judgment, and one should not be crucified out of her hard work like Waiguru is doing. I want to conclude by saying that motion will not go anywhere. In fact, we shall ask the Speaker to put the question in the next 3 minutes, and we shall have done away with that motion.
And finally, I would like to say that the minimum Waiguru can do is to step aside, to be investigated. If justice is to be seen to be done in this country, we will follow the process. If we are defeated fairly, we don't mind, but we'll do our level best. I know a lot of members of parliament in their thinking other than those be forced, and they should not be forced. They should be courageous enough to vote by their conscience, but she will be voted out and the president will remove her.
Thank you very much, members of parliament. Let us see what happens. If Waiguru is going to be impeached or not is a question of time. Time will tell us. And from now on, let's go to listen to these young people who are going to dance for us.